sober, strong, determined leadership under the People's National Movement. It was not easy. It was not easy. And some of us who were in the parliament can tell you that every decision that we made to preserve the people of Trinidad and Tobago was met with all kinds of obstruction from the UNC. They filed all kinds of a court action to undermine the measures that we in the PNM put together to preserve the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And you probably might be asking, why am I saying this here to you tonight, ladies and gentlemen? We as a party could have told you that we could have given you 20% increase in your salaries. We as a party could have told you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, that if you voted for us, we will reduce traffic fines. We as a party could have told you that if you vote for us, we will give you this, we will give you that. But when you do so, you undermine your oath of office. And the people who believe in you to give you that support. And when you take office and they give you that support and you assume office and you do the opposite of what you promise that you are going to do, you are undermining confidence in public office in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is exactly what the UNC has done to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. They offer you all kinds and all manners of things when the PNM was telling you that we could not do this, that we had to put things in place, that if we do this, it is going to undermine our economy, and that if we give 10%, that many people are going to lose their jobs by their tens of thousands, that we needed to operate in a responsible manner and guide this country out of economic peril to a place where all of us will benefit and we will not undermine and destroy our interests. And whilst we were doing that, the UNC on the other end was promising the country almost every single thing possible because they believe that you will believe them and you will give Kamla Persad-Bissessar your support. And many of you and many citizens, unfortunately, believe in this lion woman and this lion party. And shortly after, you gave them 28 seats. It was almost like a reign of terror on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Over 50,000 people lost their jobs in CPEP, in URP, in forestry, in the state sector. Almost every part of the state sector, they have lost their jobs because what they promised they could not have delivered to you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Kamla Persad-Bissessar told you that the demerit point system is one of the most evil things in this country, even though with the suite of interventions that we have made under the People's National Movement, we were able to reduce road fatalities in Trinidad and Tobago to its lowest levels since 1941. 1941. And it took years of hard work and dedication by public servants and the PNM to put a suite of interventions in place that resulted in the lowest rate of road fatalities in Trinidad and Tobago. She promised that she's going to reduce fines. She promised that she's going to destroy the demerit point system. And as she did that, as she destroyed the demerit point system, in the dead of night, on Christmas Day, 12 p.m., they published a legal notice increasing traffic fines by over 100%. This is a government that is the most diabolical and the most dangerous in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Because in the same way, they call a news conference to tell you in the middle of the day that they have removed the demerit point system. Why couldn't they tell you at 12 p.m. in the day that they have decided to increase traffic fines by over 100%? It is an alert opposition. It is an alert media. and some social media personalities that expose what the government has decided to do on Christmas night when they believe that all of us here would have been distracted. Tell me if this is a government that you can trust. Tell me if this is a government that you can believe in. Tell me if this is a prime minister that anyone can have any iota of trust in. And on All Year's night, when they realized that they made some errors in the legal notice, they went back on All Year's night when they believed that you were attending your churches and drinking your grog and having a good time with your family. They went and interfered with the law again to increase fines, and where they made mistakes on Christmas night, they attempted to correct the errors. Tonight, I want to call upon the most despicable Attorney General in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. John Jeremy, to resign from office because he has disrespected the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to call upon the Minister of Transport. What's his name? Mr. Eli Zakur? Well, I hear they call him Mr. Eli. Because today I heard Mr. Eli saying that when the UNC promised to reduce road fines in Trinidad and Tobago, they were not aware of the extent of illegality on the roads of Trinidad and Tobago. So all the time you were promising everything to get the votes of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you. All the time you were promising to get the votes of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. As a responsible opposition, you did not take the time to gather the facts and to tell the country what you are prepared to do if they decide to put you in office. And today, this dishonorable minister will stand before you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and try to explain why Kamla Prasad-Bissessar went against her word to reduce traffic fines and double traffic fines in Trinidad and Tobago, and said that when they made the promise to you, they were not aware and they didn't have the data as to the extent of lawlessness on the road. I call upon the Minister of Transport to resign from office because he has desecrated his office and he is a liar and he's unfit. He is unfit to hold the office. And the reason why they are lying, because they are led by a queen liar. That's the reason why they are lying. Because I will tell you, once you serve as a minister and an MP in a PNM cabinet and you are discovered to be lying, you have to pack your bags and go, because we hold our members and we hold our ministers to a higher standard. There is no way, no minister and no MP in a PNM cabinet that could conduct themselves in this way, and today we have to call them honorable. I see it have someone by the name of Warrior Princess here tonight. And I want to welcome Warrior here tonight. Because perhaps Warrior was one of them and the thousands of them who believed the lies of the UNC, ladies and gentlemen. And genuinely so. I don't know, and genuinely so. But when they experience their political epiphany, when they wake up to the reality and the truth, we must be prepared to welcome them back to reality. Because when, as we march back to governance in Trinidad and Tobago, we require all citizens, and many of those who would have made the mistake to stay home, the 100,000 voters who stayed away, and those who believe the lies of the UNC and are prepared to come back and to return this country to a place of governance and good governance in this country. Yeah! Colleagues, in June last year, I talked about the UNC and how dangerous and diabolical they are, and how diseased they are. We were called in Parliament in the break, and we were told by the government that there are some situations developing in the country that requires a state of emergency. They delivered a presidential proclamation for every member of parliament. And I'll read excerpts of that proclamation. On Thursday, as the president telling you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, through the elected MPs, that on Thursday, July the 17th, 2025, I was informed by cabinet that in Trinidad and Tobago, there have been 213 homicides for the year to that date, and that additionally, over the previous 14 days, there has been an increase in the number of violent crimes leading to death of individuals. Cabinet informed that within the last several days, a number of serious, violent criminal activities have taken place which have endangered public safety. This is the president telling you what the cabinet informed her. And I continue, that there has also been a resurgence in kidnappings for ransom and in gang activity. Cabinet further informed the president that the police have reported that a large group of individuals is now motivated to take action against the state at the very time that certain criminals and civil cases involving some of these individuals are ongoing, and that the Attorney General has advised, remember him, that as a result of the above, conditions exist for threats to the public safety on an extensive scale. Cabinet informed that the TTPS intelligence has informed, guess who? The Minister of National Security, whom I understand to be the Minister of Homeland Security. Can you believe that the poor president have to take advice from the Minister of Homeland Security to declare a state of emergency in Trinidad and Tobago? Who has in turn informed the National Security Council that the criminal gangs in the island of Trinidad and possibly Tobago are likely to increase acts of violence on a scale so extensive that it threatens persons and will endanger public safety. Persons already incarcerated are actively engaged in coordinated acts of violence that target the state and state actors. This is what the president's proclamation said to us as members of parliament, that persons already incarcerated are actively engaged in coordinated acts of violence that target the state and state actors. And we in the PNM said that when such information is given to us, we have a duty to protect the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and we give our support to the holding of a state of emergency in Trinidad and Tobago. The government, at the end of that 3 months, came back to Parliament and asked for an extension, and they gave not one update on these serious allegations contained in the presidential proclamation that led to the holding of a state of emergency in Trinidad and Tobago. They came back to Parliament again, and the Attorney General said nothing with respect to those persons who are incarcerated, who, it was believed, is coordinating to take action and serious crimes against persons in public office in Trinidad and Tobago. I want to ask you tonight, in the same way they proclaim all of these legal notices to rain a terror on poor people in Trinidad and Tobago in 2026, can we now believe these people? And we must ask the question, what really is the holding of a state of emergency in Trinidad and Tobago, because they have arrested not one person for these serious allegations contained in the presidential proclamation. And I call upon the Attorney General here tonight, and I call upon the Prime Minister here tonight in Sangre Grande, that we are not prepared to support you anymore in the extension of a state of emergency in Trinidad and Tobago. Because what you are trying to do is to suppress dissent, because the people are ready to hit the streets. The people are ready to raid the communities. The people are ready to march down to the Red House. The people are ready to roll back against you because you have rained terror against them since you assumed office, and you are holding the state of emergency over their heads to keep us in order. But we are not prepared to have that again in Trinidad and Tobago. We have to push back against them. We have to push back against them because they are diabolical and they are evil. And the PNM is saying here tonight in Sangre Grande that perhaps the true reason for the holding of a state of emergency is because they knew what they were going to do to CPEP workers. They knew what they were going to do to URP workers. They knew what they were going to do to the forestry workers. They know the reign of terror and fines that they were prepared to impose upon the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, we will invoke our constitutional rights as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and we will march from corner to corner, constituency to constituency, villages to villages, and we, the people, will take back our power from this brutal, rampaging government that we have in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, let us stand and let us welcome the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Member of Parliament for Arima, the political leader of the People's National Movement, the leader of the opposition of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, a woman who will lead integrity, who will lead us back to justice, that will bring and return our country to sanity and stability. The Honourable Pennelope Beckles Robinson. Let us raise our voices here in Sangre Grande, here in Camuto and Manila, and let us give her a rousing welcome. Let us give her a rousing welcome.
PNM people, I want to see your hands in the air. Put those glass up. For the political leader of the People's National Movement, leader of the opposition, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
This is our children's future. We can't give up now. We must believe. We've come a long way together as a nation.
DJ, take it down. Take it down, DJ. The political leader is entering in a very classic fashion tonight to some of our music from Trinidad and Tobago, the steel pan. She's entering to pan tonight. And Tassa, she by the pan. Oh, the political leaders by the pan. And you see, that is what you will get with Penelope Beckles Robinson as Prime Minister. A Prime Minister that loves culture and would not deny the national instruments. Are we ready? Are we ready to welcome her? Tell me, are we ready to welcome her? PNM people, are you ready to welcome your leader? Are you ready to welcome the next Prime Minister? DJ, turn it up. DJ, work with them. Ladies and gentlemen, let me see every hand in the air. If you're proud to serve the People's National Movement and proud to serve the blessed Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, somebody say it with me. Penny, 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 Penny. DJ, let me get the Tassa now. Let me get the Tassa. Let's get the Tassa to bring in the political leader tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Member of Parliament for Rima, current Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Pennelope Beckles Robinson.
Great is the PNM.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let us again give it up for our political leader and the leader of the opposition.
Yeah!
Thank you very much. So, friends, before the political leader made her grand entrance, I was telling you that there is no way that any citizen of Trinidad and Tobago can put their trust and belief in this lying, diabolical government. They have desecrated their oath of office. They have lied to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. They are like snake oil salesmen and saleswomen. And for the attorneys who are in the congregation, in this crowd here tonight, and listening all over, if there is a contract between two parties, and one party engage in fraudulent activities that misrepresented major terms of that contract, that forced the other party to enter into that contract, the contract is illegal. It is void. It does not exist. And the reason why I'm saying that, it is because that the UNC as a party has engaged in fraudulent promises to the people of Trinidad and Tobago in order to get government in this country. And therefore, we, the people of this country, must call that contract that we entered into with them on April the 28th as a void and illegal contract, and call for general elections in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah!
Again, you have fooled too many people. So many poor people have relied on your promises. How many CPEP workers relied on the promises of Kamla Prasad Bisesa? How many of our citizens believe that she would have reduced traffic fines? How many of them believe that they would have gotten employment in all of the agencies? How many of them believe that if they had voted for the UNC, that they would have been out of a job today. In Sangre Grande here this evening, we are telling Kamla Persad-Bissessar that the contract that was signed on April the 28th no longer exists because you have fooled all of us, and therefore we call for fresh negotiations and call for general election and put the PNM back in office. That is the only way that we can rewrite the wrong that was perpetuated on the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago by this diabolical lying regime that we have and that we call the UNC in Trinidad and Tobago. There is no other way. There is no other way. The people of Trinidad and Tobago did not put you, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, in office so that they can be fighting for their survival. They can't feed their children. They can't buy books for their children. They cannot maintain their human dignity because you have deprived them of their ability to earn a living. And therefore, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, you have not remained true to your oath of office. You have desecrated your oath of office. And there is only one way, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, for the people of Trinidad and Tobago to redeem themselves and to liberate themselves from your oppressive conduct and your diabolical conduct. There is only one way, and that way is to call for fresh elections in Trinidad and Tobago. You would have had a member of parliament that I worked closely with when I served as Minister of Public Utilities. Some of you may not be happy with his representation, and some of you, I'm sure, would have been quite happy with his representation. But at the end of the 5th year of his representation, he was able to publish a book of his accomplishments for the people of Toko Sangre Grande. We want to salute him for that. And that book could not have been published had he not maintained a good relationship with his colleagues in the cabinet in the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I went through that book and I saw accomplishments from under the Ministry of Education with Dr. Nayan Gatsby-Dolly. I saw accomplishments under the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service under Mr. Foster Cummings. I saw accomplishments under almost every single ministry in the PNM government, including the Ministry of Public Utilities. And I can quote so many of them, so many to mention here tonight. But there's one thing that pained me. Before I left the Ministry of Public Utilities, I put on the development program under that ministry for the full refurbishment of the Tampere and the Matura water treatment plant. I can tell you, you have decided to vote for a UNC member of parliament who is now in the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and these projects have been wiped away from the development program. They have removed all of the projects that we have put in place to continue to support and to improve the supply of water to the people of Komuto Manzanilla and the people of Toko Sangre Grande. And I ask you, are these people deserving of your trust? These people are dangerous. Before I left office, I know personally that there was a contract to drill a well in the Valencia area to improve the supply of water to the people of Valencia. And when this UNC government came into power, they removed all of the funding for that project. And it is no longer on the development program. It no longer exists. And you tell yourself that you in this constituency are in the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and even constituencies that voted for them, they are now discriminating against them. These are people that you cannot trust, ladies and gentlemen. These are people you cannot trust. And Sanjeev would have made some statements a short while ago But I could tell Sanjeev that the former member of parliament for Toko Sangre Grande, understanding how we conduct ourselves in the PNM, Nayan could tell you he was on the lower bench of the parliament. And he would talk to us, asking us to do some things for his constituents. And working closely with that former member of parliament, we were able to do and execute some projects in the constituency of Komoto Manzanilla, a UNC constituency. Because we in the PNM, we do not recognize race. We do not recognize geographical location. We do not recognize party. We recognize the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And we had a responsibility to go in all constituencies in Trinidad and Tobago and utilize the resources that are made available to us so that we can improve the lives. And today, I can tell you, many of the projects that we have put in place to improve utility services in the entire East-West corridor have now been cancelled. And God help the citizens of this country. That is not what you were promised on the election platform. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, on taking her oath of office, said that she loved all of us. And I love you like a mother and what have you. Dangerous. When you see her come and say Psalm 91. Because that is a devil in human form. Because you will recall that in scriptures, when the devil took Jesus and take him up on the high mountain, he said that if you fall down and worship me, I will give you all of these things as your kingdom. He is dangerous. And just like Kamla Prasad Bisesa went before you and said, I will give you the moon, the stars, and everything if you vote for me. Today, we can tell you that the foxes have now inherited the hen house. And it is our responsibility here in the PNM to free the hens from the foxes that have invaded us. And we cannot wait for 5 years, because I tell you what, if we allow these people to stay in office for 5 years, the damage that is going to be done on this country, no PNM party will be able to reverse it. The damage that is going to be done on this country, no party would be able to reverse it. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, here in Sangre Grande, we call for fresh election and a renewal of the mandate of this government. We are going to rally all communities. We are going to rally all constituencies. We are going to liberate this country from revenge and hateful politics. And on whenever that date is announced, we as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago will lift our eyes to the heaven, from where cometh our help, because our help come from the Lord our God. And we will say, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And we shall, and we will always prevail.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
What is this joke running my country? One set never see come see every day.
Member of Parliament for Ruka Lopino and Chairman of the People's National Movement, Chief Whip, the Honourable Marvin Gonzalez. Ladies and gentlemen, the next speaker is someone that the country is begging to be back in office, because when he was in office, they were paid on time. When he was in office, pension and grants were delivered on time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Deputy Political Leader, Member of Parliament for Diego Martin Northeast, and the longest service Member of Parliament in Trinidad and Tobago right now, the Honourable Pennelope A.
Because what don't kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy. I get my doses from all kinds of sources, and all of them still can't kill me now. You see, at them stick me on the ice, so right now we storm them just like Sabo. So as the box speed up, so I get up. They have to wonder how others get up, and every crack I see, I just see through. And by the help of God, I just get through. I is the PNM.
I do feel like Hulk. My political leader and leader of the opposition, the Honourable Pennelope Beckles Robinson. Give her a round of applause. And of course, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. You gotta say that too. And all my colleagues from the executive of the PNM, councillors, members of parliament, PNM members, the media. There's a lot of excitement in this meeting. But I would like to see that excitement translate into victory at the polls.
Yeah!
Now, I remember back in 2010, we had our final rally at Etihad Ground. And it's the biggest political meeting I ever saw in my life. I mean, I have been in political meetings since 1991. And in 2010, I never see people so, and everybody getting on and they're dancing and all kind of thing. They take us from government to opposition. They take us from 26 seats down to 12 in 2 days. So what I'm saying to you is that the excitement is necessary. It is good. But votes win elections, like goals win matches. And we have an election coming up just now. If the UNC does not interfere with the local government law, a local government election is due next year, 2027. Time is flying. In less than 2 years, we are going to have a local government election. If they interfere with the law, because previously the period for a local government council was 3 years. We changed that to 4, because we felt 3 was too short. We felt 4 is longer, give the councils more time to get their development plans working and so on. They could put it back to 3 years, eh? So you could have a local election in this year, 2026. So it is time, it is January 2026. Fet done. Back to work, as George Chambers said so long ago. So we need to start rebuilding our party structure, our party organization, our party groups. We need to mobilize. We need to get serious as a party. And the leadership will be dealing with this and the executive in this year, 2026, starting from this month, January 2026. Because as the youth speaker said, I remember, where Boynes? Where Boynes? I remember when Roger Boynes was the MP for this area, somehow we managed to win 7 out of 7 seats in the Sangre Grande Local Government Corporation. Somehow. And then we gone from 7 to 5 to 3. I think we're down to 2 now. Well, as the youth speaker said, we have to make it our mission to get right back up to 7 out of 7 in the next local government election. And the local election is very important because it gives you a sense of what is going to happen. If you look at what happened in 2013, the PNM won that local government election. And that was just 3 years after we get a serious curtail in 2010. We beat them in 2013. And that gave us the momentum to crush them in 2015. And that is why this local government election is so important. Now, I heard some of my colleagues talk about what this government is doing. But if you don't mind, I would like to read something. I'm reading from an article in 2023. And the headline is, Kamla, I will reduce traffic fines. Now, she said that, but she said a lot more. And I think you need to hear what she said in 2023, actually 2024, April 2024, not too long ago. Hear what this lady said. She said that the demerit point system was punishment for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. She said it was touted as a mechanism for promoting road safety. It is being abused by some police officers and licensing officers. It has bred fear and resentment, fueled by a lack of transparency and trust in the licensing authority. That's what she said, April 2024, less than 2 years ago. She said some of these police officers are on a power trip, bullying and abusing citizens regularly. And then this is what she said she's going to do. We must advocate for a system which offers retraining instead of imposing harsh financial penalties and suspensions, except for the most egregious, like dangerous driving. And she goes on to say, of course, we are going to reduce traffic fines, we're going to train people, we're going to have a national training program, and we're going to cut out all these heavy fines and so on. That is what she said in 2024. What happened in 2025? You have a minister, 2026. I heard him myself today, the Minister of Transport. Hear what he say. We didn't realize Trinidadians were so lawless. And that is why we had to increase the fines. What rubbish. I think Marvin is correct to name the man. He lied. Because if the Prime Minister say fines don't work, they're harsh, they're oppressive, you need to train drivers, you need to just have fines for the most dangerous traffic offenses, how this man could come and say he didn't know Trinidadians were so lawless? What is they know? They say they know everything. They say they could run the country better than us. They know everything about everything. And all of a sudden, they know nothing about nothing. And this is why they're doing the nonsense. Because what the Prime Minister said is that fines will remain only for the worst traffic offenses. But you see what they raise fines for? If your windshield wiper ain't working. I ain't no joke, you know. If you don't have a rear view mirror, $2,000 for that. If your tail light ain't working, $2,000 for that. Is that the worst and most dangerous traffic offense? What rubbish. These people just lying. And you see, that brings me to the finance aspect. I saw a video the other day, somebody talking about the PSA leader and how the PSA leader betrayed the workers. But it was interesting what he was saying. What he said was that in order to pay that little piece of back pay that they pay in December, about $400 million, they had to find the money somehow. So they closed down CPEP. CPEP used to cost about $350 million a year. They closed down URP. That used to cost about $250 million a year. They closed down forestry. That was about $50 million a year. That is $650 million. The fellas started to add up everything. You see now how they pay the 10%. They retrenched 30,000 people. And the point he made was very instructive. He said, imagine firing and sending home 30,000 people to pay a little handful of people more money. That's a very important point. Because they have fired CPEP workers, URP workers, forestry workers, contract workers, HCC workers, tooth bagay. Thousands and thousands and thousands of workers to pay other workers a little bit more. You see, I think these people are sadists. Marvin says they're evil, but I think they are sadistic. I went to the mechanic shop today to get something done on one of my cars. As I was sitting down there, a young fella come and sit down next to me. He said, oh God, I had to fix my car. I don't want to pay them taxes and fines. And he watching me. I say, hey, Catch yourself, huh? I say, catch yourself. I am no longer the Minister of Finance. PNM not in government. Catch yourself. He said, oh God, sorry. Now, I know virtually everybody in my area. This was in Diego Martin, part of my constituency. So I know he's not a PNM voter. I know I could tell him that. I see him on the campaign trail. So I say, you should have never voted UNC. He said, oh God, I'm sorry. This is a true story. And he just said it, just voluntarily. He said, boy, not me, boy. I never knew this is what we would face. And the population never knew that. Look at what these people have done. The same Kamla said, you cannot tax a nation into prosperity. I gave a budget speech about a year ago. Her response to that was, import is only tax. Now, I went into the records, and I saw that in 2023, one of the things I said in that budget statement in 2023 is that I was so happy after 8 years of pressure to be able to deliver a budget with no new taxes and no increased taxes. That is the record of the PNM. After COVID, and we survived COVID, we stopped imposing new taxes, we stopped increasing taxes, and we start to give people benefits, such as the increase in the minimum wage, such as the increase in the personal allowance. In fact, when we came in, your average worker earning $5,000 a month paid no tax. When we left, a worker earning $7,500 a month paid no tax. We made 200,000 people pay no tax. And as I said, the record is clear. From 2023 coming up, the PNM did not raise a single tax, did not increase a single tax. That did not prevent the leader of the opposition, then now Prime Minister, and her band of characters from lying. Because in that response to the budget, the woman talked about, he going to increase VAT. He going to increase this tax. He going to increase that tax. Lie. When you go into the budget, not a single tax was increased. I know that one of the weaknesses of the PNM is that we don't advertise what we do. We don't advertise what we do. We need to get better at that. We need to make people understand what we did when we were in government. For example, look at all this bacchanal with driver's permit. A fee of $600 for late driver's permit. Look at all that bacchanal. People going in license office, they can't pay. They go on there to renew their license. They don't have the extra $600. They just don't have it. So they had to go home. What did we do? We decided to give our senior citizens a benefit. So as Minister of Finance, with the approval of the Cabinet, I was able to waive the renewal fee for driver's permit for everybody over the age of 60. And waive the passport fee. And you could travel on the water taxi free. And you could travel on the fast ferry free. Everybody over the age of 60 was given that benefit.
Great is the PNM.
There are so many things we did. We increased public assistance. We increased disability assistance. We increased a whole range of social grants. We reduced taxes on over 200,000 citizens. That's what we did when we were in government. Of course, the other side lie and say we're only increasing and we're only increasing. Look at what they have done. What have they done? After promising sun, moon, and stars, milk and honey, look at what we get for our budget. Apart from a set of lies, look what we get for our budget. Landlord tax, electricity tax, banking tax, gaming machine tax, tax after tax after tax after tax. 22% increase in national insurance contributions. And for those public servants who are listening, I did a calculation. That increase in national insurance contributions, which by next year will be 45%. 1 year from now, national insurance will go up by a total of 45% since the PNM left office. They say they're giving the public servants 10%. Well, they ain't get it yet. They tell them November, they tell them December, they tell them January. Well, we go see. They say they're giving them 10%. But that national insurance increase will take away 2 of that 10% right away. I did the maths. So the real increase to public servants is 8%. They've gone with 2% of it already because public servants must pay national insurance. They can't get away. And look at what this government is doing. All of the taxes and fines and so on that they're imposing, who are they targeting? Think about it. It's poor people. They are targeting poor people. Every public servant, you have to pay income tax because they're taking it out of your salary before you get your money in the bank. It's called the PAYE system. Everybody who is renting, when the landlords have to pay that new surcharge, and they have to go through all that paperwork and all that madness to register every tenant and register every building, and with that crazy law that they brought in, that it look as if you're a landlord. I know so many retired people. They build a little annex at the side of the house. They rent in a room, 2 rooms, and that is how they are surviving. These are people whose only form of income is old age pension. Some of them not eligible for NIS, but they had a little savings. And they build a little annex next to the house and they're renting it. Now they have to go and register with the Board of Inland Revenue. They have to pay the landlord tax. They have to pay it every 3 months. They have to register every tenant. And if the tenant changes, they have to go back. And you have to pay $2,500 every time you do that. I'm telling you, that is what this landlord tax is all about. And these bold-faced people say, the new Minister of Finance say, when they confront him, he said, well, if your landlord increase your rent, just move to another place. I'm serious, the man say that. That is why I say these people are sadistic. So when your rent gone up and then they drop in an electricity surcharge too, and then the banks had to pay more with the banking tax, what is going to happen to the poor people in this country? As my colleague from Laventille East Morvan said in a press conference recently, for people in his constituency in Morvan, $2,000 is the difference between eating for the month and not eating at all. And that is why I'm insulted when I heard the Minister of Transport say today, we didn't know people were so lawless. And that's why we didn't have to increase the fine. Increasing the fine for not a broken taillight or a defective windshield wiper to $2,000. For some people, that is all they are earning for the month. And for a retrenched CPEP worker and a retrenched URP worker, that is sending them into the negative. What are they going to do? They can't pay the fines. And the police outside, they're targeting people. All you're seeing them, right? You're seeing all the roadblocks and you're seeing all the traffic jams. It is, I call it sadism. And what they are not telling you, they're also not paying people. Contractors are not being paid. Suppliers are not being paid. They're just postponing paying bills. So not only they retrenched 30,000 people, but they stopped paying bills. You know why? This government is bankrupt. They have no money. The Minister of Finance paid oil price. Oil is $50, $55, and all the estimates for next year is $55. So that is going to put a hole in the budget of about $3 to $4 billion. They just don't have the money. They don't have it. And this is why salaries are late. And this is why pension payments come. I can't believe that, you know, how many of y'all eat KFC? Well, I'll tell you something. When I was going to high school, yeah, I see Nayan put up a hand. When I was going to high school, just coming out from Form 5, going into Form 6, a group of local businessmen established Kentucky Fried Chicken here in Trinidad and Tobago, June 1973. Okay? And within a couple years, believe it or not, Trinidad and Tobago became the largest selling location of KFC in the world. In the world. When you take our population and you take the amount of chicken we eating, we were the largest, the most vibrant KFC location in the world. The outlet on Independence Square made the Guinness Book of Records for selling the most chicken in any branch, in any country, in the entire world in the year 2000. That's KFC. Look where Trinidad reached. I read the papers, is it today or yesterday? KFC gone through. All you see that? All you see that? Big headline. Sales flat. Sales gone down. How we gone from the highest selling Kentucky Fried Chicken country in the world to the people from KFC say, whoo, things ain't looking good at all, boy. No, that is an indicator because it might sound funny, eh? It might sound funny. But when you read into the story, when you go deep into the story, you know what they're saying? People are no longer buying chicken. And then why are they no longer buying chicken? Because they are unemployed. They've lost their jobs. Who you think is buying KFC? Them 11,000 CPAP workers buying KFC every day. The 5,000 or 10,000 URP workers, them buying KFC too. The 4,000 forestry workers, them buying KFC. So no wonder KFC gone through. But it is an indication of what is going on in this economy. I heard Sanjeev talk about very slow sales and a depressing Christmas in the business community in Sangre Grande. That was how it was all throughout Trinidad and Tobago. It wasn't just Sangre Grande. Everywhere, people balling, merchants balling. You know why? Because the people with purchasing power, the ones who spend money on consumer items, they send them home. Because when you're a CPEP worker, a URP worker, or forestry, or a contract worker, you work from paycheck to paycheck. All your money goes into higher purchase, goes to buying food, goes to paying rent, your basics. So when you send them people home, people stop paying rent. Courts have to go and repossess all our furniture. KFC going through. Understand what these people are doing to this country. Understand. And I have been trying to figure out what is the problem. Where are we going as a country? Because I'm not seeing any area where things could get better. I don't want to sound depressing, eh? I mean, obviously, when PNM come back into government, things will get better. But that's a while from now, eh? That is not today. That's a while from now. So we have a little while to suffer. I'm not seeing anything from them because they just lie. There's nothing that they say make any sense. I got an interview with a reporter the other day, and he asked me some interesting questions, and you know, me and the media don't mix, eh? But I decided to talk to this person because he made an interesting point. He said now that the UNC has shut down the Revenue Authority, and the Revenue Authority was designed to get more tax dollars from high-income people, high-wealth people, people evading taxes, big businesses who are evading taxes, high-wealth professionals who don't pay tax. We all know who they are. We don't want to call the name here. But one of the problems we have in Trinidad and Tobago, there are some very wealthy people in this country who just don't pay tax. They avoid it. They have lawyers, they have accountants, all kinds of different ways. They don't pay tax. The people who have to pay tax is the people who on payroll, who on a salary. They have no choice. So the Revenue Authority was designed to go after all of these high income, high wealth tax avoiders. They shut it down. So what's left? You no longer have the ability to deal with the high income, high wealth tax evaders. So who's next? The poor people. So if you look at what they are doing, they need to tax you. They need to fine you, F-I-N-E. They need to terrorize you. They need to squeeze every dollar out of you because they have abandoned anything that could have helped this country. They've crashed every system that we put in place. So, all I will tell you is that we need to send them a message. Marvin is absolutely right. I believe that the state of emergency is to stop people from protesting. No other reason. That is what it's for. They want to stop people from complaining and protesting. Because it seems in this country, when you complain and protest, it's jail for you. That's what's going on. That's where we reach in Trinidad and Tobago. We've gone from democracy to dictatorship in just 8 months. And clearly the state of emergency is designed to deal with that. But you need to have faith. I have been through this many times before. I saw PNM go out of office in '86, come back with a bang in 1991. I see PNM crash out in 1995, come back with a bang in 2001, 2002. I see PNM go through in 2010, come back with a bang in 2015. And we will come back with a bang whenever the next election is called.
Great is the PNM.
So you have to have faith. And I end by saying, faith is not enough. We have to do our work as a party. We need to mobilize our voters. We need to get our act together as a party. And while a lot of excitement and rah-rah, as they call it, is nice, we have work to do as a party. And it is only work that will make us great. So we could say on election day, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we have to do
Yeah. Never let your problems get you down. Stay focused and hold your ground. Because what will kill you
PNM
should make you
people,
stronger.
are we ready to work?
Yeah!
PNM people, are we ready to work?
Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, we want to ask the driver of PBO 7400 to please check on your vehicle immediately. As we celebrate 70 years later on this month as a party, we must pay tribute to some of our stalwarts that we lost very recently. We ask that everyone stand for a brief moment of silence for Ferdy Ferreira, Eddie Hart, Deodath Oja Maraj, and Osborne Charles, as we pay respect for their lives and service to the party and to the country. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please remain standing. Please remain standing because right now we are ready for our feature address this evening. We are ready to welcome the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. We are ready to welcome a leader that is tried, tested, and proven. We are ready to welcome our current leader of the opposition, our political leader of the People's National Movement, and the Member of Parliament for Rima. PNM people, wave your rag, wave your flag. Show some love and respect for the Honourable Pennelope A, Beckles, Robinson.
I'm looking on through the party. I hope I find you there. And when I hold on your body, I when I sign my name. Like this is respect for me. Strong in the party, me and the baby. Moving and down, moving and down. The music seasons, and we feel the seasons. I ain't ashamed to say every night and day.
You know, we have so much to celebrate. I need to tell the DJ, you know, when I walked in here and I saw so many people, I thought it was a general election meeting, you know. So I need to tell you, so please, before I start to speak, let us just get the crowd going now. Play something PNM and active, you know. Come on, let me hear something. You must have something.
Great is the PNM. Skirts. Yes, I can hear them saying, boys, stop living in the past. Where can I find that energy, the raw magic that comes down from the grassroots? Yes, I'm from a place where soca the resounding power. You could feel any time, any hour, sunshine or shower. You will feel it anywhere you look, and it read like a storybook. I come from when Kong used to carry it. We used to carry it when the Kong used to carry it. We used to carry it when the Kong used to carry it. We used to carry it when the Kong used to carry it. We used to carry it when I Rima had it, Maturita had it, Santa Rosa had it, Dongaruga had it, in Mova had it, in Sawa had it, Soparia had it, Lomalova, downtown fit was the vibes when West people live from Lincoln, John and the Tom to head to the playground and who they link inside.
As much as we are going through a very challenging period, this is a new year, and we thank God that we have lived to see another new year. Let me first start of all by saying Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Anybody from Kamuto Manzelina in the house?
Yeah!
Anybody from Arima in the house?
Yeah!
Anybody from Diego Martin in the house? Anybody from Toko Sangre Grande in the house?
Yeah!
So let me, of course, acknowledge all my deputy political leaders, members of parliament, former members of parliament. I heard Winston Gypsy's in the house. Gypsy, where you? Yeah, man, come in.
Yeah!
Former MP for Mayaru. Let me acknowledge mayors, chairmen, councillors, and of course my handsome husband, Mr. Noel Robinson. And let me say what a pleasure it is to be. I have to, of course, acknowledge Warrior Princess Candice Edwards in the house. Okay, so you know, if I had to go through the list, I would not leave here tonight, but I want to say that I truly appreciate the fact that so many of you have come out here tonight, and there's more people outside than there is inside. Let us thank the young people in Steel Band for providing really good music. I had the opportunity to walk Sangre Grande before this meeting to get a little sense as to, you know, how the people are thinking. As a lawyer practicing in Sangre Grande, I'm very familiar with this area. And sad to say, everybody I spoke to talked about the fact that the bar's empty, business slow, we went to the market. And one interesting thing, following up on what Colin said, you know, you're passing, you're at the bar, the market, and the owner of Trotty's Bar said to me that the license moved from $1,800 to $9,000. Now, we could spend the whole night talking about how wicked and oppressive this government is. Wicked and oppressive. Do not get tied up, but by the nice words. I want to share with you what the Prime Minister said when she was sworn in. Some may have treated the people of our land like problems, but I know that the people of our land are the solution. What is the solution? Taxing, 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 taxing. It is important for us to note that this Prime Minister told you there would be no more taxes. There would be reduced fines. And as soon as they get into office, it's only tax after tax after tax. Wicked. I want to start by sharing with you that the Minister of Works today mentioned that he did not know, Minister of Transportation, sorry. He talked about the fact that the reason why there's so much chaos and confusion at all the licensing offices is because during the campaigning and the election, they did not have access to operational data. All you really believe that? Lie. 9 months you in government. 9 months you in government. And you are now telling the people the reason for all this chaos and confusion is you didn't have the data, incompetence, inability to manage. So you are making policy without data. People wake up. These people need to go. And I want you to listen. On the campaign trail, we did not have access to data, to operational and statistical data. But since assuming office, we now have access to all the data, and the lawlessness is worse than we thought. So the government had to act decisively. All you hear lie? They assumed office so long ago, and they want you to believe that you foolish and them smart. So they are telling you that you were aware that all those fines that Mr. Imbert referred to, they tell you about it before. If you didn't know about that, you'd have put them in government? I was here April, and I spoke the night when we had one of the final meetings in Grande. And let me make it very clear. A lot of you here didn't vote for the PNM. Correct. And I stand here tonight to say to the people of Sangre Grande, of Camuto Manzalina, of Toko, that you were not happy with a number of things that the PNM did. Many of you found we were not listening enough. True or not? And I want to say that as the political leader of the People's National Movement, we are committed to listening a lot more.
Great is the PNM.
To the people of Toko, Sangre Grande, and Camuto Manzalina, many people have a problem when I say that I'm sorry for the pain that I caused you. And I say I because I'm the political leader. And I'm now taking responsibility. As the People's National Movement, we are saying to the people of Toko, Sangre Grande, and Camuto Manzalina, we are sorry for the pain that we caused you to either stay home or vote for the UNC. And we are saying to you, all who leave, time to come back home. Pay attention. The Prime Minister missing in action, and Wayne Sturge missing in action. Because I know for a fact that many of you have seen him since the election. Alright? And we are committed, whenever the election is called, to ensure that we do what is necessary for you to have the faith and confidence in the People's National Movement to return us back to office here in Toko Sangre Grande. You see, it cannot be that after lunch or this morning, one minister tell you, we didn't have the data, we didn't have the statistics, we didn't have the this, we didn't have that, and we ain't changing nothing. Take it or leave it. And guess what? As they would say, a few moments later, the Prime Minister says that she's going to give all your time. Behave yourself. Somehow, this Prime Minister feels that we in some daycare center. We are in no daycare center. Every time there's a problem in Trinidad and Tobago, she want to cough down. She want to cough down Imbert. She want to cough down her ministers who go in the Hyatt and having meeting. She want to bust their head. And she want to threaten you that if you behave yourself, you mightn't get your visa. Now, is that what you all vote for? If you know how to govern, you don't have to threaten nobody. You can't have to tell people to behave themselves. It is the Prime Minister who should behave herself. The Prime Minister does not understand that she is serving the people. She has to take instructions from those who put her there, and not vice versa. So it can't be every Monday morning, whenever you do rubbish, and the people talk to you and they complain. I will fix it, behave yourself. If you don't behave yourself, I can't fix it. They promise you they're going to deliver 500 houses a week. To date, none. What do the people of Toko Sangre Grande, Kamuto Manzalina, Arima, what it is that you want? You want housing. You want, as a pensioner, as somebody who is on disability, you want to get your salary on time. You want your pension on time. You do not want that when you put the card in the ATM machine and all that come out is a receipt and tell you zero. And they're blaming everybody because they want to tell you that the PNM left no money in the treasury. Lie. And I'm saying to you, they're going to come back and offer you again, you know. They're going to come back very soon. After they kick you, after they send you home, because they realize they're in trouble, you know. How long the Prime Minister will continue hiding? You would see that the opposition has been facing the media. It is government by VAPs, government by Twitter, government by WhatsApp. You didn't vote for that. And I'm calling on the Prime Minister, come and face the music. All of you have family abroad. And even if you don't have family abroad, you understand the concept. When your neighbor house on fire, wet yours. In relation to Venezuela, pluck out the president and go on with him. You notice 3 lines. 3 lines the Prime Minister put out. The same person that said, kill them violently. The same Prime Minister that when Dr. Rowley and Stuart Young were able to get an agreement for us to get the dragon gas, they laugh. They say no dragon gas. But they go to New York and they come back and tell you they seal the deal, and they're ready to go to Venezuela. A Trinidadian was killed, and they still say kill them violently. What have they told us? We ain't know nothing about Maduro being plucked out. And today, as I speak, couple days later, no press conference from the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister sends the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who tell you he on the National Security Council, and he could speak, but he speak and he say nothing. I want to say to you all, because we have a Tobago election Monday, and there are 2 islands. And I want to say to the people of Tobago, because this is a very important issue, the radar, all we know, the people from Tobago say they hear plane flying, and next thing you know, radar installed. When you start asking questions, nobody know how the radar reached there. They tell you they come to patch. You remember they say they was fixing the road? Oh God, they could lie. Fixing the road. Then they didn't know how it got there. Then it was a secret. Finally, the Prime Minister said she asked for it. But it gets better. The Minister of Homeland Security, the one who just be blowing in the plastic bag, and want to blow in a plastic bag and send message for Marvin. Yeah? What did he say? The radar is to help detect drugs. You hear that? The manufacturers of the radar tell you it is not to detect no drugs. And if this government would lie to you on an issue of national security,